I love this team. I love this team, man. What else is there to say? Look, I tweeted at halftime, the Bulls are still winning this game. Book it. And yeah, I said it kind of half kidding to try and rile myself up a bit, thinking this was still going to be a game. But the main reason I said it, even though, if I'm being honest with myself, I didn't actually think they would probably win this game based on how poorly they were playing in the first half. But if there's one thing I do know about this team, and what I love about this team, is they are very resilient. They will never stop hustling. They will never stop fighting. Nothing phases them, even when a team is lighting them up. Even when they know they're playing like crap, they never give up. 2 seasons ago, if the Bulls had a first half like this one that we saw tonight, they would have checked out and given up by halftime. That's how sad that team was and how easily they would quit on games when things weren't going their way. This team always believes they can come back, even against a team like the Sixers, who were 5-1 going in tonight on the season, and really up until that fourth quarter have been playing some pretty damn good basketball. I don't know what happened to the Sixers in the fourth quarter, especially in those last 5 minutes. Like, yes, give the Bulls defense credit. They absolutely kicked up the defensive intensity in the second half, a complete contrast from what we saw in giving up 45 points in the first quarter and 75 points by halftime. But yeah, the Sixers did not make a single field goal in the last 6.5 minutes of the game. I don't know if they just got gassed, but Maxey, who was killing them in the first half, was putting up horrible shots that weren't even close. Same with Embiid, who just completely fell apart in the fourth quarter. I mean, the way the Sixers were playing and their horrendous shooting in the fourth, it was almost like the Bulls were destined to win this game. Now, the first half was bad, and really the first quarter, because in the second quarter, the Bulls did pick things up a bit. They took better care of the ball, but overall, the first half, they were getting outworked on the glass, giving the Sixers way too many offensive rebounds and second chance points. The defensive coverage on the perimeter was non-existent. The Sixers were getting whatever they wanted, and the effort overall, even on offense, just was not there. To me, there were really only 2 guys that were giving strong effort in the first half, and that was Josh Giddey and Isaac Okoro. Now, I will say the Sixers' three-point shooting in the first half was not going to be sustainable. Like, the reason they were able to open up such a massive lead was they were shooting like 65% from 3. They could not miss. Again, some of that is the fault of the Bulls and their defense, but the Sixers were also hitting some very tough shots. And you knew eventually that kind of shooting would regress to the mean, just like how we talked about the Bulls' opponents shooting 25% from 3. That wasn't going to be sustainable in their 5-0 start. Eventually teams would start hitting shots again, but at the same time, you're not going to have teams shoot lights out every game for the whole game, and you eventually saw that coming down with the Sixers when they ended up shooting 36% from 3 in this game, and even their mid-range game started to taper off as well, most notably from Joel Embiid. Both him and Maxey cooled off substantially, as well as VJ Edgecombe, who had his first rookie wall game, if you want to call it that, after having such a hot start to the season. But look, so much of the credit in the Bulls winning this game has to go to Josh Giddey. Like, Giddey was absolutely incredible. Giddey was making the plays, making the reads, settling things down on offense to get the Bulls back into this game. And when the Bulls brought things within single digits, and we entered those final 4 minutes or so, you saw Modest trying to live up to the moment, trying to make those statement plays of the basket, and he got rejected twice. One was questionable. I thought he got fouled, but he couldn't finish after the Bulls were getting some big stops. And so instead, Giddey said, all right, you know what, I'm taking over. And he got a big bucket and then assisted 2 more plays after that, including that insane pass out to the corner for Vucevic to hit the 3 to give the Bulls the first lead of the game and would ultimately be the game winner. Josh Giddey back-to-back triple-doubles, 29 points, 15 rebounds, 12 assists, 10 for 19 shooting, got to the free throw line 8 times, went 7 for 8 from the line. All of the things, all of the weaknesses to his game, the things that a lot of Bulls fans were concerned about, he's proving night in and night out, all of us wrong, and that he's gotten better at every facet of his game. Who said that was a bad contract? Man, that $100 million contract is looking like a steal at this point compared to some of these other contracts getting thrown around the league, like Franz Wagner and Paulo Banchero getting $200 million plus. Oh, and also taking another L tonight, but I digress. What a game for Josh Giddey, really one of the few players you could feel comfortable with in handling the ball and getting the Bulls offense that they needed in those final minutes. Shout out to Isaac Okoro as well. I mentioned, he was one of the other guys that really gave strong effort throughout this game, especially on both ends of the floor and coming up with some nice stops, whether it was a charge or picking off a pass. But then offensively, he was more active, more engaged, finally found that stroke from 3, shooting 3 for 6 from deep, 5 for 8 overall, 16 points, 5 assists, 2 steals. Seeing Okoro making the right passes on offense is something we need to see more of. Like, if he's not going to score, we need to see him helping facilitate, and we all saw that tonight. And then Vucevic. Vuce played pretty well against Embiid, who he has historically struggled against. Now, Embiid isn't the same MVP caliber player that he used to be, but he's still a threat and a very dominant big man. But Vucevic held his own on the glass, kept him out of the paint and at bay in the fourth quarter on defense, and then, of course, obviously hitting that game winner with all that pressure. Everyone thought it was going to be Giddey taking the last shot, so the defense crashed in on the paint on that drive, leaving Vucevic open in the corner, and you know Josh can spray it out there quickly before the defenses can get set and try and contest that shot. Telling you, man, this is why this team can be really good, because they move the ball well and always keep teams on their toes. Everyone gets involved on offense. It's not every man for himself. Now, for Armas Bucelis, not the best game offensively, and you kind of saw why. He's still not really there yet when it comes to those big moments at the end of games, at least consistently anyway, because we have seen Armas hit big shots and make big plays in the clutch, but he's not at that level yet where you can always rely upon him in clutch situations. Again, he's only 21 years old and he's at the very beginning of his second year in his career. But even that aside, and I know he didn't have the best shooting night, going 4 for 11. Modest was still making winning plays, especially on defense and helping the Bulls get stops down the stretch. He was a +9 in this game in 30 minutes of play, which was actually higher than Josh Giddey at +8. So his impact is noticeable. And look, what's been impressive to me is that the Bulls are doing all this, not only without Coby White, who hasn't played yet this season, but also no Ayo yet again in this game. When they listed Ayo out for this game, I thought, all right, this is going to be really tough for the Bulls to pull this one off, because their defense suffers greatly when he's out. And of course, you saw that right away in the first quarter. And so the fact that the Bulls rallied, picked up the defensive intensity, held the Sixers to just 36 points in the second half, and doing so without one of their better defensive players and their leader in the second unit, shows you just how good this team is in living by that next man up mentality. Great minutes off the bench from Jalen Smith, hitting some big threes to keep things alive early in the game. Same with Kevin Huerter. Dalen Terry and Julian Phillips, man, sometimes I'm just like, what is Dalen Terry even doing? Is the guy even an NBA level player? Anyway, I'm not going to get all negative now. The Bulls are 6-1 in sole position of first place in the Eastern Conference. Can you believe that? Vegas had their over-under set at 32.5 wins this season. Unbelievable. Hey, the Bulls are off actually now for the next few days before they get another tough matchup on Friday, where they'll be taking on the Milwaukee Bucks in Milwaukee. That also happens to be on my birthday, so they better win that game. For me to go 7-1 and winning in Milwaukee, I know is going to be a tall order, but I have faith in this team. They can do it. Anyway, guys, let me know what you thought of the game tonight and this epic comeback. Let me know in the comments. As always, be sure to subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.